Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy HG Tate here, and I recently saw a video by Ellis Mark ranking all the Family Guy episodes, and I wanted to try something like that for myself, but I just do not have that type of commitment, so I've decided to rank all 101 Dalmatians. This is going to be based purely off their names and not the actual dogs. A lot of the dogs don't actually have like personalities or anything, they just have names for continuity, I guess. A couple things before we get started. Um, I might be a little contradictory from what I say and where I place things on the list. I just wanted to make things interesting, and I didn't want to like repeat myself too much, so I just said things that I thought would be interesting for the video. I hope you understand. And second of all, I do not want to do this camera style thing for this video, so I wanted to do an avatar kind of video. Can I get a drum roll, please? That looks great, doesn't it? I highly suggest you you look away and do something else while you're watching this video. But let's get into the video. Patch. I hate to say it, but the first name on the list is mid-tier. It's just very mediocre. Extremely basic for a dog name, and comparing it to other names on the list, it's not all that special. Why would you ever name your dog Patch? Does he have patches on him? Like a Dalmatian? How creative. I actually do like names that correspond with the type of dog, but I've seen Patch used on literally every dog breed. The only reason it's memorable to me is because it's the first name on the list. I think I'm starting off a bit too critical because the name itself isn't bad, but I want a bit more creativity out of the names. Patch is going at the top of the list for now. Lucky. The list continues with another basic name. At least this one sounds better in my opinion. Lucky is a basic name, but it just sounds much better than Patch. I just want to say that most dogs are not lucky, and a dog with 100 siblings is certainly not lucky. And most dogs named Lucky die a tragic death. Lucky is 10 times more basic than Patch, but I just feel like Lucky sounds so much better. It doesn't relate to Dalmatian specifically, but again, there's just something about Lucky that sounds so good. Lucky is going at the top of the list. Cad Pig. What in God's name is this? Certainly not God's name, that's for sure. I think it's a very weird name, but it's also kind of funny. I don't know why, but it makes me think of a pig in a sweater, and that's kind of funny and cute. It's much more memorable than the other names on the list. It seems we've hit a trend where the names just keep getting better and better. I hope this trend continues. Cat Pig's going at the top of the list, and it's probably going to stay there for a while too. Roly Poly. It's not as good as Cat Pig, but it's still a very good name. It reminds me of the bug, which in turn reminds me of the one episode of Sid the Science Kid. It doesn't change my ranking, but I thought it would be fun to mention. Roly Poly is going under Cat Pig and above Lucky. Gay. Uh, I'm pretty sure this was made around the time Gay meant happy, so I will rank it accordingly since I don't want to get canceled. Gay is just a fun way to say happy, and I think it's an alright name. Not really a good dog's name in my opinion. Imagine calling for your dog, "Come here, Gay, Gay, come here." It just doesn't roll off the tongue, in my opinion. Neither does Cad Pig, but at least that one is funny and original. It's going under Roly Poly and above Lucky. Roly. It's very similar to Roly Poly, but I'm more biased toward this one because I know a dog named Roly. He's a pug and he was always very friendly toward me. He's dead now, but that's besides the point. I will not be putting my bias aside for this, and I will be putting Roly below Cadpig and above Roly Poly. Penny. Another basic name. It's not a memorable name, and it sucks because there's so many names out there. I guess I didn't want all the dogs' names to be weird like Cadpig, and I get that, but Penny? The dogs aren't even penny colored. Patch was at least decent because it embodied the dog, but Penny has nothing to do with white and black dogs. You could have named it Oreo or something, but I guess that's copyright. But yeah, Penny instead. Bottom of the list. Still not a bad name, I'm just nitpicking. Freckles. I guess it kind of fits the dog. Freckles are like spots, so it makes sense. I can imagine the dog has small black spots instead of larger ones, but I can't be sure. It's more creative than Patch. There's just something about it that doesn't sit right with me. I'm going to put it above Patch and below Lucky. Pepper. A normal human name. I guess Penny is one too, but it's also a normal dog name, and it makes more sense to have it correspond with a dog. Pepper is just a normal name. Or it could be named after pepper, the spice, in which case the name is good, because pepper is a good spice. Pepper is going above Roly Poly and below Roly. Jolly. Another basic name. This one sounds like Santa's dog, and it doesn't really fit the style of a Dalmatian. I personally see Santa's dog as more of a fluffy dog because he lives in the North Pole. Or he would if he was real. I have a video on why he isn't if you want to watch it.
I can imagine that half of the dog blends in with the snow, the other half sticks out, so it just looks like there's black spots in the snow. Overall, it's not a bad name. It sounds nice, and the only gripe I have with it is that it sounds like one of Santa's dogs. It's going above Pepper and below Rolly. Lenny. This is a fun name for a dog. I don't know what it is about Lenny, but it just sounds nice. It's not weird like Cat Pig, but it's not really basic like Lucky or Patch. This is an example of a perfect name. Lenny's great. I'm not sure if it's really outclasses Cat Pig because the name is just so weird and funny. I think Cat Pig is better because it's just so absurd and its name is specifically created for the 101 Dalmatians. So Lenny is going under Cat Pig but above Rolly. Salter. This poor dog did not deserve this name. He's just trying to live his best life and his name is Salter. Poor guy, this must be torture for him. The only thing keeping this name up is Pepper, but it's not Salter and Pepper, it's Salt and Pepper. What an awful name that doesn't even fit its gimmick. Bottom of the list. Blob. Again, this poor dog. It's almost as bad as Salter. It sounds like this was made by a 2-year-old, and it probably was. Imagine naming your dog Blob. The poor dog. At least it doesn't mess up a gimmick like Salter, but it sounds 10 times worse. Maybe it was meant to represent the black spots on a Dalmatian, but this is a horrible way to do it. The spots aren't blobs, and I feel bad for this dog. Bottom of the list. I hope the next few names do better. Blot. The trend does not continue. Kinda. Blot is a decent name. It fits the Dalmatian because the dog has a lot of blots on it. It's just Blob but done somewhat correctly, although I'm sure they can do much better. Blot doesn't sound the best, but at least it fits the theme of Dalmatians, and it's better than Blob. Overall, a decent name. It's going under Lenny and above Rolly. Dot. I feel like they were really trying to do something with Blob, Blot, and Dot. They all sound alike, but if they're going to do something like this, all the names should rhyme. Blob and Blot are connected, and Blot and Dot are connected, but Blob and Dot don't have anything similar about them. I'm not going to put this against Dot, but I don't like that they did this. Anyway, Dot's a decent name. It also makes sense to be on a Dalmatian, but I just don't like it as much as Blot. I don't know why I like Blot so much, just a mid-name, all things considered. I'm just going to put it below Pepper and above Roly Poly. Blackie. Another name made by someone who just came out of their mother's womb. I feel bad for every dog named Color E. Brownie's the only exception because of the dessert. But imagine being named Orangey or Whitey. Blackie is one of the better ones, and it's still utter garbage as a name. It's awful, and there's no reason why this poor dog should be named Blackie. These are Dalmatians. They are black and white, and he's just demoted to just Blackie. Bottom of the list. If anything goes under this one, I will be genuinely surprised. Whitey. I didn't look at the list when I made my case on Blackie. I genuinely did not think there would be two. I have enough preference between Whitey and Blackie, but I'm not racist, so I'm going to be putting Whitey at the bottom of the list. Sport. Sounds like what a middle-aged dad who's too obsessed with football would name his dog because he can't get a wife or kid. Overall, not a bad name. It's going above Dot and under Pepper. Yo-Yo. What does a yo-yo have to do with the dog? Nothing, and that's the fun of it. Cat Pig has nothing to do with a dog, and it's barely even a name, but that's why I like it. Yo-Yo is not nearly as good as Cat Pig, but it's just a good name for a dog. It's going under Rolly, but above Jolly. Corky. What is this name? What is a Corky? It's not absurd like Cat Pig, and it just makes me a little confused. I looked up Corky, and the definition just says, resembles cork. Does the dog resemble a cork? Like, what does this poor dog look like? I sure hope he doesn't look like a cork. The name doesn't sound that bad, so I guess I'll put it below Patch and above Penny. Spanky. Again, this poor dog. I'm pretty sure these dogs are puppies, so this name is completely unsuitable. Maybe when he gets older it will fit, but for now I'd feel bad for the puppy with this name. It's going under Penny and above Salter. Dipper. Makes me think of the Gravity Falls, and that's a good thing. Gravity Falls was a good show. The name is good, and that just sounds good overall. I think it's better as a dog name than a human name too. Sorry to all the Dippers watching this. It's going below Rolly and above Yo-Yo. Disco. Another banger of a name. Disco just sounds like a fun dog name. If your dog is named something like Whitey, I'm just going to assume I'm not going to have a good time. But with Disco, I feel like I can expect a party. It's a very good name, and I will be putting it above Lenny but below Cat Pig. Inky. Meh. It's not a bad name, but it's not a good name. It fits, I guess, maybe. Like the dog's got covered in ink, but it just sounds like generic, and the E names usually just don't do it for me. It's going above Freckles and below Lucky. Smokey. They stole this name from Smokey the Bear. That's his thing. This stupid fictional dog can't hold a candle to Smokey the Bear. I bet this dog doesn't even help prevent forest fires. Wow. It's going above Blackie and under Blob. Splatter. It fits, and it's a decently creative name for a Dalmatian. It fits because it's like they're splattered with paint or ink. And to top it off, the name sounds good too. I'm a big fan of this one. It's much better than Blot. It's going above Blot but below Lenny. Bravo. Eh, it's just not that good, mid all things considered. I don't really have a big opinion on this one. I just feel indifferent towards this one. It's going below Patch and above Corky. Flapper. This one isn't too bad. It has nothing to do with dogs, but I don't think all the names need to. Reminds me of the Flapper style, which I actually dressed up as once, but we'll not get into that. It's going above Blot and below Splatter. Puddles. A good name for a puppy, but once this dog grows up, they're going to get bullied. Sounds like they should be part of the Powerpuff Girls. It's not an awful name. It's going below Inky but above Freckles. Tiger. Dope name. Instills fear into the hearts of opponents. I imagine this dog either has stripes or a scar above one of his eyes. This name is going above Lenny and below Disco. Tiresome. Who came up with this name? Sounds like it should be a dwarf from Snow White. I hate this name. It sounds like this dog would have this name and his entire personality would be being tired. It was fine when it was the Seven Dwarfs, but it just doesn't work with the dogs. It's going above Smokey and below Blob. Scooter. Not a bad name. It's whatever. Like Bravo, I'm more or less indifferent to it. That's why it's going under Bravo and above Corky. Bump. What is wrong with this dog? What is his character quirk that makes him Bump? I'm very concerned about this dog's safety. Does this dog just have a birthmark or something? Does he have aggressive cancer? There's nothing about him on Google, so I just assumed the cancer got the better of him. I'm going to be putting him below Puddles and above Freckles. Sniff. Does he just sniff stuff? Sniff is not a good name for a dog. It's just wrong. Stiff should not be the name of anything. It's just not a name. At least it's better than Whitey and Blackie. I don't want to talk about this one for too long. It's going above Tiresome and below Blob. Spark. Not bad, more of a generic name, but it sounds good. Not really a good name by itself, but it has a lot of potential for nicknames. Sparky, Sparkster, Sparkmeister. Exclude that last one. Decent names overall. It's going above Inky and below Lucky. Wags. Never name your dog about something your dog does. Like, this is the equivalent of naming your dog licks or pisses. I hate it. At least name your dog for something unique about it, like its breed, like Splatter for instance. Wagging is something all dogs do, and now that I think about it, Sniff is too. It's not unique to one dog, and it makes sense. This will just fade into the background as the list goes on. Wags is going under Tiresome and above Smokey. Yank. I thought Wags was bad. This is just not a name for a dog or anything. This is straight up just not a name at all. Imagine someone comes over to your house and they ask what the name of your dog is, and you have to say, oh, his name's Yank. Yank what? Yank my way to the bottom of the list? Because that's where it's going. How is something making Whitey look like a decent name? Hungry. The trend of bad names continues. Hungry is not a name for something. Again, the Snow White dwarf names. Like, adjectives are just not a good name usually. There are exceptions like lucky or jolly, but those are positive adjectives. This one is hungry. Is the dog fat? Is that his character trait? Does he just always want food? But I looked it up, and apparently being hungry is Rolly's thing, so it's just a stupid copy. Anyway, so it's like... that's stupid. Hungry is going under Tiresome and above Wags. Nosy. It's a Seven Dwarfs name, but I kind of like this one. It's more unique. This one could be a character trait or an actual dog name, and I like it. It's nowhere near the top of the list, but it's much better than some of the trash on this list. I'll put it below Lucky and above Spark. Sleepy. They just stole this off the Seven Dwarfs. This one isn't a joke like Smokey the Bear one. They just legit stole it. And don't you dare call it a reference, because then I can make fun of it. It's going below Hungry and above Wags. Speedy. They stole this off Speedy Gonzalez, but he got cancelled, so it's fine. It's going below Roly Poly and above Gay. Swifty. Speedy, but a little bit slower. It's going under Speedy and above Gay. Bulgy. I've been personally asked to put this name high on the list. I would put it mid because it's kind of funny, but also that poor dog. But I feel obliged to put it higher. It's going under Tiger, but above Lenny. Hoofer. This gives me the vibe that the dog is always zooted up. This dog has to be high on drugs 24/7. Must be a monster at parties. Kind of like Disco, the way I feel like he would just be fun to hang around unless he runs out of drugs, which would probably be pretty often because he's a dog and access to drugs must be hard. Unlike Disco, who is fun all the time, Hoofer gets really run down and annoying when he runs out of drugs. The name itself isn't bad too. It's kind of weird like Cat Pig, but it doesn't give off that vibe. But I do really enjoy it. Hoofer will be going under Dipper and above Yo-Yo. Pokey. Like the thing from Mario? That's not a dog. You know I'm not a fan of the E names, and it holds up here. Still not a good name, very basic, not memorable at all, and just kind of bad all around. It's not as bad as some of the actual bad names, but it just isn't good. It's going above Corky and below Scooter. Jewel. Not a bad name, I guess. We're getting a bunch of mediocre names, tons of bad ones, with sprinkles of good names every once in a while. It's a decent dog name. Once again, it'll fade into obscurity against the more memorable names. When this list is over, I'm not going to remember Jewel, but I will remember Cadpig and Blackie. It's just not a memorable name. It's going above Lucky and below Gay. Fidget. I just don't think it really fits a dog that well. The dogs fidget that much? I don't see my dog fidget that much. It's not an awful name, but again, I'm seeing a trend of names just being painfully mediocre. And this one doesn't really fit a dog. It's going above Bravo and below Patch. Whizzer. Finally, a good name. This one is memorable. Reminds me of the wizard from Clash Royale and Clash of Clans. I'm just imagining a dog with that mustache and haircut. I really like that image. Plus, it's a good name in general. Wizard. Such a high energy name. No one would question the name either. It's just good all around. It's going above Lenny and below Bulgy. Dipstick. I'm going to ignore the funny name for a second to bring you attention to the fact that we're halfway through. This video is already so long and we're only halfway through. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe because it really gives me dopamine rush to see the small number get less small. Anyway, back to the list. Dipstick is obviously a funny name, but I can't help but feel bad for the poor dog. Still, it's really funny. Funny enough for it to be a decently high on the list. Dipstick is going above Flapper and below Splatter. Two-Tone. Perfect name for a Dalmatian. Makes me think the dog is buff as heck for some reason. Also, the definition of two-tone is having two colors, and guess what a Dalmatian has? You're right, two colors. Two-tone is the embodiment of a perfect name. And as good as Catpig is, we have a top dog in our rankings. Pun intended. Two-tone takes the #1 spot. I think it's high past time Catpig got demoted from the top. The name is stupid and funny, but it really has nothing to do with Dalmatians. Two-tone is funny, has lots of potential for nicknames, and relates to Dalmatians. I will legitimately be surprised if something tops it. Tripod. I like this name. I really like this name. It's not too funny at first, but then you realize that this dog with a name only has 3 legs. They did this dog so dirty by naming him Tripod. This is legitimately one of the funniest names they could have come up with. I'm genuinely so surprised that they actually let this name slide. This is such a brutal name for a dog. Tripod is something this dog would be called if he was being bullied. I can't believe this is his actual name. This name is so funny. I'll be putting it below Two-Tone and above Cadpig. Ugh, I can't believe Cadpig was dethroned 2 names in a row. Duke. Reminds me of the movie Marmaduke, and as a kid I liked that movie, so I'll be putting my dislike for basic names aside and putting this name above Nosy and below Lucky. Dingo. Aren't dingoes a type of dog? I'm gonna fact check that real quick. Yeah. I guess it fits a dog, but for me it's the equivalent of naming a dog Lab or Retriever, but slightly better because it's a wild dog. I personally would not name my dog Dingo, but I wouldn't judge a dog named Dingo. And if this list has shown anything, it's that I'm picky about my names. I think this name is alright though. Once again, it's not the worst, but nowhere near the best. It's going below Hoofer and above Yo-Yo. Pickle. This is exactly the type of name my sister would give a dog if given the chance. It's not a bad name by any means, but it's just so basic. It's the first thing that pops into any 5-year-old's head. They think it's such a genius name for some reason. I don't get it. It's the definition of mid. It's going under Roly-Poly and above Speedy. Whizzer. Wow, I completely skipped this one when making the script because I thought I already did it, and I had to go back and put it in again, completely messing up my list. It's literally Whizzer but with an H. How creative of a name. I don't even know how to pronounce them differently. I'm not going to put it against the other Whizzer without the H, but I will be putting against this Whizzer. I can't believe they put such similar names on the list, and they're not even close to each other. It isn't even a gimmick like Speedy or Swifty or Blah Blah and Dot. This is just such an awful and uncreative name. They aren't close on the list, so I can't tell if they were trying to do something funny. I absolutely hate this name. Two almost identical dogs with similar names. I know there are 101 dogs, and that's 101 names, but this is inexcusable. I can't believe I'm getting this heated over fictional dogs, but this makes me so mad. Not really, but it's better for the video, so I'm going to act like it. Either way, I don't like it. I'm not going to put it at the bottom of the list because Whizzer without the H didn't exist, and this name wouldn't be too bad. It's going above tiresome and below sniff. Plato. This sounds familiar. I think it's from some Greek guy who died, but he was a poet. He was poetic or something. I think it's a good name. I'm imagining some dog running around with a beard and chiseled body, kind of like a JoJo's dog. I do like how the name sounds. The reference to the philosopher is good too. Just a really solid name overall. It's going above Dipstick and below Splatter. Play-Doh. Okay, so in my script, I didn't realize Plato and Play-Doh were like, it's kind of spelled similar or like pronounced similar, so that's also a thing. That's like a gimmick. That's kind of cool. It's not going to change my ranking, but I just thought I would mention it. Anyway, I feel like Play-Doh is just spelled wrong. Like, the way it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't like how the dough is spelled. Like, there should be a G or something. It just feel like a 5-year-old is spelling dough wrong, and apparently Play-Doh is 2 words anyways, so this name is incorrect. Anyway, this is definitely a name made by a child that they will regret when they grow older. It's not a good name for a dog in my opinion, and it just doesn't fit. I can't see anyone over the age of 7 with a dog named Play-Doh. It's going below Penny and above Spanky. Harvey. Steve Harvey as a dog. That's a funny image. It reminds me of the bald Steve Harvey image I had in my home screen freshman year. It was a decently funny image. I don't think Harvey is a dog name. It's kind of like the baby name thing where babies have adult names and it just doesn't fit them at all. Like Paul or something. Like babies shouldn't be named Paul. Like I wouldn't touch a dog named Harvey. Like that's it just sounds gross. Harvey is going below Swifty and above Gay. Holly. I actually know a dog named Holly. She was a very nice dog and is actually the mother of my dog. I would feel bad if I didn't put this name high, just out of respect, but the name itself isn't bad at all. I would be putting Holly above Lenny and below Whizzer, without the H. Polly. Holly, but not as cool. I know a Polly in real life, not a dog this time. She was pretty cool and told me to half-ass my job sometimes, so I'm all about that. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't sound as cool as Holly. Polly is going above Jolly and under Yo-Yo. Pooh. Did they rip off Winnie the Pooh? I guess it's a reference or something, but who in God's name is naming their dog Pooh? Again, a 5-year-old made this name after their favorite cartoon character, and worst of all, it sounds like poo, like the crap. Imagine calling your dog Pooh. Come here, Pooh. Ooh, like that poor dog, like bad name. It's going under Blob and above Sniff. Sasa? What even is a Sasa? I don't know. I've looked it up and there's like 8 different things. So it's not even like a reference, maybe? I don't know. Sasa is something my sister would say when she went through like the phase of saying like random words and speaking other languages in quotations. It's just a weird name. I don't get it at all. It's going under Patch and above Fidget. Steve! Minecraft reference, top of the list. In all seriousness, Steve is such a funny name for a dog. You have Rolly, Hoofer, Tiger, and Steve. A bunch of pet names in Steve, the most basic name out there. It's literally one of the most popular boy names. I think naming your dog a basic human name is kind of funny, but it doesn't do any disrespect to the dog. I mean, it's a decent name overall. It goes under Dingo and above Yo-Yo. Ham. So fun fact, my cat's name was originally Ham before we got him. My sister changed his name to Dusty when we got him though. I like the name Ham. It's just fun to say. Like Ham. Ham. I don't know. I don't know how to say this, but it just sounds like slapping a piece of meat. It's just how it feels to say Ham. I know it doesn't make sense, but just trust me when I say I like this name. Ham will be going under Dipstick and above Flapper. Hoover. Did we have this name already? No. I was thinking of Hoofer. Oh, another name that's just a ripoff of Hoofer, I'm beginning to see a pattern that the bad names are just too similar to the names that came before them. Oh, maybe they're related, like father or son or something, but I don't know the extended lore of the 101 Dalmatians, and I couldn't care less. I thought they were all related before anyway, but apparently they're not? I don't know. I'm getting off track. This name is just way too similar to Hoofer, and it started to actually take me off that they couldn't be more creative with the names. It's going under Wizard with the H. Oh my god, it's getting confusing, and above tiresome. Kirby. They ripped off Kirby. Or it might actually be a reference to Kirby Howell Baptiste, sorry if I butchered that name, who was in Cruella. If that's the case, then it's a pretty cool reference. Imagine being immortalized in film, even as a dog. It's still pretty cool. Although I have no clue if it's a reference to anything at all and not just a name they came up with. I really can't say because besides the main cast, not many of the dogs get any representation, so there aren't even any pictures of Kirby when I search him up. I honestly don't know where to put this name, but I guess I'll put it below Gay and above Jewel. Lugnut. He can lug my nuts any day. But seriously, this isn't a bad name at all. Kind of cool, actually. I assume this dog is pretty greasy, though, and I'm not really a fan of that. The name overall is good. Can you tell that I'm running out of things to say? Lugnut is going under Roly-Poly and above Pickle. Furball. This is a name that should be used as a nickname instead of an actual name. Everyone calls their pet Furball at least once in their life. It just loses all its meaning when it's used as an actual name. Furball is only meant to be used in certain situations, not every time. It's going under Play-Doh and above Spanky. Lumpy. Oh, okay. I swear we had this name before. We didn't? That was Bump? I guess they're not exactly the same. Once again, there has to be some lore between these names, but just looking at them in a vacuum, it gives me the impression that the creators were lazy. Lumpy is just bad as a standalone name too. The poor dog who got named Lumpy, I feel bad. I would never subject my dog to that kind of abuse. Lumpy is the worst name we've had in a while. It's going under Sleepy and above Wags. Lip Dip. It doesn't sound good. Lip Dip. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. I really don't like it. It's going under Sniff and above Whizzer with the H. Dolly. Here we have a start of what I like to call the curse of D, because someone had the bright idea to have the next 18 names start with the letter D. I'm not going to put it against any of the names, but I just thought I should mention it because I have no clue why they did this. Maybe it stands for dog, perhaps Dalmatian. The world may never know. But back to the names. Dolly, it is a name. It's just Polly, Holly, and Jolly, but worse. And this made me think of Roly, which is spelled just like them, and now I'm questioning if I'm pronouncing Roly right or not. If it's Roly or Raleigh. I really doubt it because the name sounds awful. Dolly is going under Jolly and above Pepper. Dylan. I know a Dylan in real life. He accidentally spilled monster on my school bag. Bottom of the list. For real though, it's like Steve. Human names can fit dogs, but this one just rubs me the wrong way. It's like too human. Steve was at least funny because it was the human name, but Dylan is just Dylan. I expect this dog to have a hat on at all times just because of his name. Dylan is going under Penny and above Play-Doh. Dorothy. Dorothy is mid. Another human name that's just kind of middle of the pack, and it's an old lady's name. Never met someone who was named Dorothy who was under 70, which isn't saying much because I've never met anyone with the name Dorothy. It's a name you would see a dog have in some 1970s show. Dorothy is alright overall. It doesn't sound bad. Dorothy is going below Duke and above Nosy. DJ. Dope name. Love disco, and I just assume this dog is fun to be around. Would probably pop a few bottles of alcohol at a party, even if he's underage. What a bad boy. In a good way. DJ is going above Disco and below Cadpig. Da Vinci. This name has been forever tarnished for me. I hate the Da Vinci meme, and I'm also taking a class where I have to study Da Vinci, so I kind of don't like Da Vinci anymore. I'm like looking at the name on my script, and I can only think of it Da Vinci, and it's kind of... I used to really like this name, but now I can barely stand it. It's not even an exaggeration. Da Vinci is going under Fidget and above Bravo. Deja Vu. Sick name. I imagine the dog is always hiding something, probably has like a secret life as a vigilante. He is mysterious in all his ways. Not to mention the name sounds good, just a very good name overall. I don't have much else to say. Deja Vu is going above DJ and below Cadpig. Destiny. This dog spends all her time in front of an orb, seeing the future, pondering, knowing everything, but nothing at the same time. The end is near. The future is not bright. This dog is happy to have an average lifespan of 10 to 13 years. She does not want to live longer than that. Destiny is going below Ham and above Flapper. Dallas. Ugh. What a gross name. I bet anyone named Dallas could probably eat an entire pizza. No, this is not personal at all. I don't know what you're talking about. For real though, I know someone named Dallas, and he can eat an entire large pizza and still be like, "Oh yeah, I'm still a little hungry." The name isn't bad, kind of generic. It's whatever. Dallas is going under Steve and above Yo-Yo. Dante, maybe the coolest name on this list. Dante, it sounds epic. Much better than Deja Vu, which is already really high on the list. If you're going to give your dog a human name, give it something cool. Like Dante, perfect name. Only going under two-tone because it doesn't have a reference to Dalmatians. Dawkins. Hawkins, but with a D? This name did not have to have a D. I really don't get it. This is the only bad offender of the curse of D. What is a Dawkins? Richard Dawkins? A British evolutionary biologist? Wow, he's British? Bad name. Dawkins is just a weird name, and it really works better than as a last name. Not a first name. Dawkins is going under Fidget and above Da Vinci. Da Vinci. I had to stop myself. Didi. Not a bad name. It's something a child would come up with, but it wouldn't be awful as you get older. It's not a good name by any means, just painfully mediocre. I kind of want the list to be over with, so I'm not going to say anything else. Didi is going under Puddles and above Bump. Dizzy. Another Seven Dwarves name, but it's more obscure this time. This dog is either drunk or clumsy. Does not sound like a fun dog to be around. Dizzy's going under Hoover and above Tiresome. Diesel. Powerhouse of a dog. Probably looks like The Rock, jacked and bald. Cursed image, but I'm afraid to put them any lower than Rolly. Diesel's going under Blah and above Rolly. Deepak. This dog is iced out, dripped out, pimped out. This dog gets so many bitches that it's not even funny. At least that's what he says. Probably has a SoundCloud with 9 followers and think he's popping off. Deepak is going under Dingo and above Steve. Delgado. I knew I recognized this word, but I couldn't remember where. I looked it up and it means slim in Spanish, or like skinny. This dog is starving. Someone is starving this dog. Hungry is probably eating his food and abusing him. This poor dog. Delgado is going above Blah and below Salter. Dimitri 1. Yes, I said that correctly. Dimitri 1. We have 3 names left in the Curse of D, and guess what they are? Dimitri 1, Dimitri 2, and Dimitri 3. I have been complaining about names being too similar this whole time, but honestly, I can't bring myself to hate it. It's hilarious. You can tell the writers just gave up. I mean, plus Dimitri is a good name. It sounds good, and Dimitri is one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite games. Dimitri 1 is going above Dingo and below Hoofer, with an F. Dimitri 2 is just Dimitri 1, but 2 is better than 1, so Dimitri 2 is going higher than Dimitri 1. That's a lot of Dimitris. Dimitri 2 is going above Lenny and below Holly. 3 Dimitris is too many. What were they thinking with this one? Absolutely disgusting they would name a dog this. Dimitri 3 is going under Sasa and above Fidget. Alright, so these last 3 names are names I couldn't find in any of the list on my website, but they were still names. So this is probably going to they're going to seem a bit random. Pongo. Kind of like Cadpig, where I feel like they made a whole name for a dog. Not sure if that's true, though. I'm probably giving them too much credit, but if it isn't, that's a really creative name and impressive. I get why they didn't do this for all the dogs, but I wish at least some of the names had some semblance of effort into them. For example, Whitey is 0 effort. Anyway, Pongo sounds nice, and it's creative, so it's definitely going high on the list. It's going above Cadpig and below Tripod. Mrs. The spelling of this one just makes me gag. It's like Mississippi, but not fun. Like, you get halfway and you're almost to the good part, which is obviously the ippy, but it cuts you off before you get there. It's whatever, I guess. Mrs. is going below Kirby and above Jewel. Perdita. Nice name. I didn't think this one's made up, but it sounds really nice. Perdita, it just rolls off the tongue. It apparently means lost in Spanish, which is probably a reference to the movie. I wouldn't know because I don't want to watch it, and that would defeat half the purpose of this list. I don't really know what else to say. I'm kind of running out of ways to pad time. Perdita is going under Cadpig and above Deja Vu. Prince. Dope name. Not really creative. You know that dog show that's always on at Thanksgiving for some reason that my grandfather watches for God knows why? I feel like Prince would be in there. I'm not really sure though. It's still a cool name and it sounds royal. I don't really have much else to say about this one. It's going under Tiger and above Bulgy. Bonbon? I like this name. It's cute. Really fits a dog, especially a puppy. Not the best for a Dalmatian per se, better for a smaller dog, but I still like it. It rolls off the tongue, and if you want to get technical, you can just call your dog Bon to save time, although it doesn't sound as good. It's a good name overall. Bonbon is going under Splatter and above Plateau. Fuck. Sugar. Meh, I just think this song, it's not a bad song, not a good song. I don't know about this name. I would feel way too awkward calling my dog Sugar. Sugar is reserved for dating partners and nice lunch ladies, not as a dog name. It's going above Plato and above Dylan. Pointy. No. Just no. Pointy's going under Whitey and above Yank. Doug. Dog but with a U. Cool name. I would not mess with a dog named Doug, especially not a big dog like a Dalmatian. Probably buff and beats his kids if he has any. Doug is going under Lucky and above Duke. Little Dipper. Dipper but little. Which is weird because I assumed Dipper was a puppy, so Little Dipper is even tinier in my mind. I'm usually not a fan of similar names, but it's like the constellation, so I really like this gimmick. It's not going to affect the normal Dipper's placements though. Little D is going under Holly and above Dimitri too. Domino. Very good name for a Dalmatian. Dominoes are usually black and white, so it really fits the theme of Dalmatian. Not to mention, it also sounds very nice. It's really a perfect name. This name might go at the top of the list if I could get Domino's Pizza off my mind. With that in mind, I will be putting Domino above Cadpig and below Pongo. Might be Pongo. I think that might be a Spanish word too. Oddball. Another name that is more like a nickname than an actual name. A lot of people probably call their pet Oddball, but I feel like it's not as bad as Furball. Still bad enough to be near the bottom of the list. It's going above Furball and below Play-Doh. Itchy. What is this name? You'd think they have experience making names by now, but they just don't understand what makes a good dog name. And to be fair, I am just some guy on the internet, but I have 180 subscribers, so that makes my opinions more valid. I think at this point, I don't even need to explain why Itchy is a bad name. It's going under Tiresome and above Hungry. Alright, last name. What's it gonna be? Spook. The big 101. I wonder what I'll have to say about it. Spook. Spook. Not spooky. Spook. Somehow, that's worse. I hate to end on such a sour note, but this name just doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the top of the list, or the middle of the list for that matter. Let's get this over with. Spook is going below Smokey and above Blackie. Now, going through this list, I think I have enough experience to name these dogs myself. So I will be going through the list and calculating some names I think they would use if they ever expanded the series to add more dogs. These names will be based on the names the dogs already created. There will be 9 categories and I will have a name for each. Category 1, the 7 Dwarves name. The name will be Slumpy. Category 2, similar names. Golly and Owali, which is Ollie with an O, obviously. Category 3, cool names. Hades. Category 4, funny names. Snoop Dogg with 1 G. Category 5, generic names. Buddy. Category 6, child name. Chase from Paw Patrol. Category 7, human name. Susan. Category 8, random D name. Dick. Category 9, Dimitri. Dimitri 5. And now I will be reading you out the completed list, ranking all 101 Dalmatians. Buckle up, this is going to be a long list. Starting from the bottom, Yank, Pointy, Whitey, Blackie, Spook, Smoky, Wags, Lumpy, Sleepy, Hungry, Itchy, Tiresome, Dizzy, Hoover, Whizzer with an H, Lip Dip, Sniff, Pooh, Blob, Delgado, Salter, Spanky, Furball, Oddball, Play-Doh, Sugar, Dylan, Penny, Corky, Pokey, Scooter, Bravo, Da Vinci, Dawkins, Fidget, Dimitri 3, Sasa, Patch, Freckles, Bump, Dee Dee, Puddles, Inky, Spark, Nosy, Dorothy, Duke, Doug, Lucky, Jewel, Mrs., Kirby, Gay, Harvey, Swifty, Speedy, Pickle, Lugnut, Roly Poly, Dot, Sport, Pepper, Dolly, Jolly, Polly, Yo-Yo, Dallas, Steve, Deepak, Dingo, Dimitri 1, Hoofer, Dipper, Roly, Diesel, Blot, Flapper, Destiny, Ham, Dipstick, Plato, Bonbon, Splatter, Lenny, Dimitri 2, Little Dipper, Holly, Whizzer without the H, Bulgy, Prince, Tiger, Disco, DJ, Deja Vu, Perdita, Cadpig, Domino, Pongo, Tripod, Dante, and at the top of the list, Two-Tone. Wow, this video took a long time and a lot of effort to make. So if you made it this far, please like and subscribe. I want to hit 1 million by the end of the tomorrow. If you want me to do this type of video again, or any type of video, put it down in the comments below and I'll consider it. But that's all for this video. It's been a long time making this video. It's been months. Thanks for watching and goodbye.